There's one of my Pokemon hatched? What's this? Why did it hatch? What's going on? Oh, there we go. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
What am I
exciting. I could have done a live reveal.
I think this is my level 5 one, though, so I don't think it's going to be that exciting. Or it's my level 10 one, in which case it's the... Oh, they've got, like, 2 of them.
Ekans?
Yeah.
That's Snake spelled backwards.
Ah.
It's also almost exactly my last name.
Your name is Snake? Backwards?
Yeah.
Snake.
Evan.
Snake? Snake! Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 178 of 8.5-Bit, which I'm sure is going to be the most walking around for no reason episode of them all.
There's plenty of reason, Paul.
It really isn't. I'm your host, Paul, and joining me today are my good friends Jeremy.
Hello.
And James.
Hello.
And boys, I have a question for you.
Alright, go.
Have you ever... I know the answer for both of you.
Okay.
Now I think I've got the Around the Twist theme song stuck in my head.
Have you ever felt like this? How strange things happen. Are you going round the twist? Good answer is anyway. So we have been away for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. We've been away because I have not been in a great place. So I decided not to do the show. And I record it, so... Fuck these guys. So we're back. It's been good.
I was in Italy.
Yeah, well, you weren't here for other reasons.
Yes.
He was
I was in a great place. It was pretty good.
Yeah, fuck you. And Jeremy, well, he just does what I ask.
Anything.
Within reason. Jeremy's actually been putting together a list of words he can't say to me. Which we should make out. We might put on a wiki, and it'll be a very valuable resource for all of humanity, I think.
Can you spell one out? Or give me the first and last letter.
Oh, they're not dirty words at all.
No. They're just things that if he brings them up to in conversation, so he can just say the words now. But if they come up in conversation, they may come back to bite him or lick him or nibble him at him.
If I was just say to Paul, well, I can't commit one way or the other, but I'll say maybe. I mean, it's a firm maybe. That's no good.
Don't do that.
I said firm.
No.
And one way or the other.
One way or the other.
It's a pretty extensive, exhaustive list.
Yeah.
Anyway, so whilst we have been away, many video games have happened. Mm-hmm. Perhaps the hot button topic of the day, which we could start with, is of course Pokemon Go.
I'll say.
Don't fucking... No, we don't need to bring it
A
up.
live patching.
My phone is currently covered in tape. Because it is extensively broken on the screen. And tape stops me getting glass in my finger.
Also, it'd make swiping to catch Pokemon more difficult.
No, it's actually more responsive.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, it's more responsive than the cracked screen.
So what you're saying is that if I crack... Oh, no, if I crack my screen, I'm better off doing it. Not I should crack my screen to make it more responsive.
No.
Okay. Pro tip, Pokemon players.
Pro tip. Also, you wouldn't need any sort of accuracy or anything to catch Pokemon anyway, because there is no game in Pokemon.
There's plenty of game.
Oh, there's accuracy.
What game is in Pokemon?
Alright, do you remember, like, when I first got an iPhone, I had a game called Paper Toss? I'm sure most people played it.
You know what? I gotta say, I actually haven't seen it, but I can extrapolate from its name and from what we're talking
a paper ball
about.
into a bin.
I told you I didn't need it described.
So
Someone may have.
now it's wasted.
So that's at the core. It's what you're doing. You're
That's
flicking.
the game.
But it's not just that, because the way you throw it will change depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can put spin on it to get kind of more points, more XP. You have to time the throw with this shrinky circle. There's gameplay mechanics there. There was one I was fighting where there seemed to be a breeze coming through, so I had to kind of throw it with a curl to get to the spot, do like trick shots. How is that not game? Like the actual catching mechanic, when I first started doing it, I was really shit at it. Now I'm like...
It's a little bit less game than Kirby's Dream Course, which is one of the greatest games of all time.
Yes.
Pokemon. But you're just going at that one thing in front of you.
Okay, now if you were to say take Pokemon and compare it to Pokemon Go, yes, one has significantly less gameplay mechanics.
And yet, Pokemon Sun and Moon are still going to sell great.
They're still going to sell great because they're very different things.
Oh, I'm not arguing. I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm just saying that there's not much game in it. Which is, of course, an objective sort of term.
There is
sometimes.
more game than I originally thought there was in there.
Okay,
Like, there's more game than there is in Astro Attack in there.
Yeah, but
There's not that much game in Astro Attack.
I like how your go-to example is the game I made. I'm James in this situation. Because that's my spot-on impression.
Yeah, that's it. Couldn't tell. I thought it was me.
Yeah,
I was listening back to the show.
Yeah. I've been doing spot-on impressions of everyone this week.
Okay, so take the battling system. Okay, so the battling system is nothing like the mainline battling system.
No.
Which I'm actually okay with, because
it's a tappy, swipey...
After 20 years of playing Pokemon, I never liked the battle system that much to start with. It never was really my thing. I like the collecting, and I like the evolving, and I like the making things stronger.
Oh, I just want to point out for the people that are listening instead of watching that my gasp was very sarcastic.
So they've taken that out, but I don't mind so much because they still have a lot of the essence of what it is. Like, if you go to a gym, so you go to battle gyms to wear them down so you can take them over.
Does anyone named Jim, or...?
There's anyone named Jim, yeah. You just go up and just throw your phone at them until you wear them down.
Look, guy I know, Jim Gray, he's not just a personal trainer, he's like fucking international medal star. He'll beat the shit out of you. He's the Jim I know the best.
Jim's too hard for me. I go for the nub gyms.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
like the guy who drew Garfield.
Yes, Jim Davis.
Jim Davis.
Yeah. He's old now. I don't think I can take him. So you go up to the gym.
Anyway, present day Jimmy Stewart.
Isn't he dead now?
I hope so. Because that's my whole game plan going
Very
into that fight.
yeah. So enough of homonyms.
Homonyms.
That's the one I want, isn't it? Yeah.
Hold on.
You go up to the gym. You see what Pokemon are defending it. Then you can pick what to attack it with. So that's where you can bring in the kind of rock, paper, scissors stuff. So if you want a good lineup to counter the lineups that are there. So it's not like you just go up and go tap, 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 you win. You go up and you go tap, 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 tap. With the right configuration. there is a little bit of timing in that you can swipe to dodge big attacks. And you can hold down, like you build up energy, then you hold down to do like a big attack. And you might make the decision of like, I'm about to take down this first Pokemon, so I'm not going to use it yet. I'll wait till the next one comes out, then I'll hit it with it. So those decisions are in there.
So we'll give James that little bit of leeway and say there is some game in Pokemon.
I have to say I haven't gotten to that part of the game yet though. I'm still really enjoying just walking around and occasionally getting that joy of something's near. What am I going to get? What am I going to get? It's a Pidgey again, but that's okay.
I only turned it on twice, and both times there was just something near me, and I threw a ball. I got it. Went, great game.
It feels good, right?
It gets harder as
you get that sense of accomplishment.
There's some little whittle or something next door. I really just want to Diglett, and that'll do it for me.
Well, I got my Abra. That's my favorite Pokemon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's so I think I can actually stop playing it now.
You're forgetting about Licky Tongue. Licky Tongue, Snorlax, and Diglett are my
They're your favourites?
Yeah,
I like
definitely
Abra.
Probably because it's like good or something. It's a terrible reason.
It's a psychic Pokemon.
Boo! Oh,
strong against lots of stuff.
I'm highly skilled and good at playing a game. Boo! Looks like an inverted shit. Is a thing that licks everything and just like the fat sleepy thing.
Yeah,
best Pokemon.
You know how like in the Pokemon core games, like NPCs will occasionally have lines of dialogue that are completely asinine and obvious. It'll be like, "Did you know you can heal your Pokemon at a Poké Center?"
No,
I didn't. I needed one of those NPCs to explain to me that Psychic is weak to Dark, Ghost, and Bug because they're 3 common fears.
I didn't know that.
So, a bit of outrage today. Someone found one of those poisonous gas Pokemon in the Holocaust Museum.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
I guess, you know what? I haven't been able to work out whether it was a satirical news site or not yet.
No, that could happen.
They seemed... Oh, no, it could certainly happen. Then they posted a screenshot of it, and they weren't too happy about it.
Yeah.
But...
Who were more outraged? The Holocaust survivors or the Holocaust deniers?
Well,
is this
that's a debate for a second time.
People playing Pokemon Go being like, there are no Weezings in Auschwitz.
So, if you'd like to join us on a new podcast, Holocaust or Naught. Anyway, so the game is a huge phenomenon.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed this week as I go through my last week's gaming podcasts. And all the people that were in the beta are talking about how it's such a shit game and it's such a misfire.
Can I say like, the game? There is a lot of shit in that game. Like it's like me saying the parts that are good are actually me stretching.
No,
there's a lot that's wrong with it.
I understand.
Yeah,
but no one can deny now that it's launched that it's an international phenomenon, which has taken over everything.
It's a social phenomenon.
When I walked into the school I work at on Monday morning, all I could hear was, "There's a poker center up at the pool and another one by the kitchen."
Yeah.
Which I haven't gone to check out yet, but I have kept in my memory that there's some poker centers.
Well, for the next student-free day.
I think what for me makes this game magical is that last night we went and got dinner, went and got sushi. Then after the game, this is with my mother-in-law and Cheryl. After that, we saw they were like, oh, there's some poker things around.
Kind of like that mother-in-law has now kind of supplanted his partner.
Yeah.
It's not an ordered list.
So I was out with my mother-in-law, and I guess not what.
In its defense, I've done that too. I've said, like I was talking about a cafe. I'm like, actually, my brother-in-law lives around there with my sister.
Yeah, but you are closer to your brother-in-law.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But the reason actually why I did put it first is because after that, it was with the three of us walked around for an hour and a half hunting Pokemon. Like for the last two nights in a row, Cheryl and I have gone out. Even after like early in the week, we went for a walk around the graveyard.
We had a board game night, and then afterwards, near midnight, James was like, "Can we go into the graveyard near your house, Paul? Because I'm hoping to find some ghouls." And every once in a while, there was a sound behind us, and I got a little scared. And then we went home.
That was the gist of it.
You were just playing blind trust.
And there was a scary possum.
You were scared of the possum.
Because they freak me out.
Really?
Why? They're possums.
They can mess you up.
Then one time a possum has messed someone up.
Maybe a possum can mess you up if you're a passion fruit, but like as a human being, I think you've got the edge in that fight.
I know they're kind of plastic, but I'm just waiting for one to just like.
So they can mess you up. Is this all like a hypothetical story you've worked out in your head?
Yes.
Okay.
None of this is real.
Does this possum just somehow have like a syringe full of a meth addict's blood and is waving at you in its tiny claws?
I've read stories of cornered possums.
After they've dropped a lure and and you've gone there for the
they'll
Pokemon.
Just scratch you, and you got to pay someone to come get your possum.
They might scratch you. What a terrible thing.
Actually, if we're talking about Pokemon, you should know that only does like 30 damage.
I don't have that many hit points.
That's still more than a bloody duck bunny.
That's one.
Only 1 HP of temporary damage. Man, that one day will tell you, the viewers and listeners, the story of the duck bunny. Maybe we could just have a drunken rant episode where we just tell shitty gaming stories about past. Oh, you'll never believe this time. A really funny thing happened. All that time I had an amazing run in Half-Life multiplayer. Oh, you look so impressed with my history of gaming.
We're like about like an hour in when it starts getting real. We'll talk about like, who was the first video game character you masturbated over?
Oh.
Not now. Paul's going to tell us anyway.
Probably just the Space Warship.
The way it moves side to side, like a slut.
The rotating and just got sucked into the black hole, just like I planned to do. It's a good game. Good game. Anyway, So Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm. I don't care about it at all.
I care more about talking about it and seeing how many people are playing it than playing it myself, I've found. Like, because I think it's amazing that there's no subtle way to play the game. I think I've said this to you before. Like, you can't just be like, it's in my pocket, walking around, because that'll fuck up your screen. It'll lock the screen. You have to have it open.
And you need a battery charger to go along to play it properly.
That's what all the Ingress players have been going like, oh, these Pokemon Go people, they don't understand. They've got to get these special batteries, not just a regular one. You've got to get these special power packs, and you've got to walk around with a special VR headset on. And you've got to, like, put it in your blood.
And your alfoil hat so the government can't read your thoughts.
So, I guess in a little bit of background for people that may not know, a company that made it...
Niantic?
Yeah, I know it starts with N.
Yeah.
So they make Ingress.
Like the cat, the Japanese cat sound.
Niantic.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. So they made Ingress, which still exists, which is pretty much the same game with more features. And
But fewer Pokemon.
Yes, no Pokemon. And they've been using the Ingress players to data map parts of the world, which has now formed the database for Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm. It has a lot less features than Ingress, and I am so happy for that.
And it has made, I think the count was 13 times Ingress's total profit of all time in 4 days.
Wasn't it something like 1.4 million already?
14 million.
14 million.
That's great.
That's even more insane for a free-to-play game.
Well, it's taking 20 years of nostalgia and then just giving the ultimate wish fulfillment for it. Like now, when I see a patch of grass and I think I could walk along that and find Pokemon, that's what I did when I was playing Pokemon Blue on my Game Boy emulator.
But it doesn't actually know it's a patch of grass. It doesn't actually care.
Well, it can, because where you are matters. Because like, if you need water...
Oh, no, well, only to a degree.
Well, it will put certain Pokemon based on where you are. So
in some basic areas.
Are there any volcanoes around Brisbane? Because
very,
to New Zealand!
I want to get a magma.
So anyway, but what I really enjoy is how much it's taken over public consciousness. How much is just you seeing groups of wild Pokemon players going around.
Yeah.
I know there are multiple groups this weekend meeting up in the city.
Yeah, I'll probably go along.
It reminds me of Tales of Gaming Past. Of James and I when the DS was hot and we would run like public DS events in the Botanical Gardens in Brisbane. Because we'd all just rock up and we'd all go, oh, what should we play for about 10 minutes? And then everyone would just play Mario Kart every night. Because it's a better game than almost anything else on the system.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good system too.
How do the group walks work? Like here's a question I have because I've just been walking around on my own. Am I competing with the other people around me to catch things, or is it completely random within my phone?
No, okay. So it will. If someone finds something, everyone will be able to see it. So today I was out for lunch, getting a coffee, had my phone out, walking around the uni campus, and I found a Scyther.
Scyther?
Scyther. Yep. And I was
it's an important difference.
Yeah.
You're talking bug and flying or bug and steel. I mean, come on, Paul.
And it's that thing. It's only.
Is there a difference between an STD and an STI?
No, it's more.
Anyway,
one is a subset of the other.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd seen one, and I there and caught it. And then when I was leaving, I was like, "Oh, did you catch it?" To this group of people that were playing, and they got it as well. So if you find one that's particularly rare, it'll basically pop up on everyone's phone, and you all get a chance to catch it.
Yeah.
I think after someone catches it, maybe it goes away. But
I don't know
I
about
have a
that,
feeling
yeah.
it hangs around for a little while.
I think it hangs around because I hear lots of stories of someone finds a rare thing and then other people run over and finding it.
Yeah.
So the thing that is really great about the game is that it really brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It allows people to meet people of a like mind. You can make a lot of friends, do that sort of thing. The bad thing about it is it literally has no social features. It has teams.
Yes.
But that is inherently meaningless to... Like, you can't battle another person, you can't friend another person as far as I'm aware.
You just have to have friends in real life.
Yeah, but there's no way of actually forming anything in the game or doing anything.
The game itself is missing a bunch of stuff they said they would have at launch. Well,
what are they missing?
Like, trading's not there. Battling's not there. Like, it's... That stuff...
So are they planning PvP
well,
battling?
I'm not sure about that one. Trading's definitely coming in. Mm-hmm. So there will be stuff in there to so I expect this thing to be fleshed out. If this thing can keep up even a third of its steam, there's still going to be a lot of people playing it. And hopefully they can just keep adding more crap. Like, I would actually love to get it closer to where Ingress is. I'd love to have these more kind of complex ways to work together. I mean, you can claim regions, however they do it. But cutting it back for launch, I think it's been very clever.
People go crazy in Ingress, though. They build fences in public areas and booby trap things.
Oh well, no, don't need to go that far. There have been some stories of people getting pretty aggressive about the teens. There have been muggings.
That's just opportunist mugging that happens with everything.
Yeah, if it's about 3 o'clock in the morning and you see a lure in the middle of a park, don't go. No. Don't go.
Unless it's in a graveyard, in which case it may just be James and I.
Still trying to get a ghastly.
Okay, so do I cross Pokemon Go off my list?
You can cross it off.
There we go.
I mean, I might come back to it, but I can talk about it for quite a while.
Okay, well, let's come back in the future when we have more Pokemon Go stories.
Well, maybe in a couple of weeks or a month we can see where it's at.
You can.
I will. Yeah, well, it might be over by then. I don't know.
I think most people... Well, no, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see the kind of legs it has. That's the most interesting, because I don't know where it landed, but I was hearing up to 50... Like, Nintendo's stock was up 15%.
Yeah.
I think it might have got that high. Originally, it was like 8%, and then it just kept going up and up, which is kind of hilarious, because Nintendo did not make this game, but they they own a third of Nintendo, of Pokemon Company,
Yeah.
but then they own most of the other two companies
Yeah.
that own it. So it's like, I think overall they
Yeah.
own more than 50%.
I expect Nintendo would have had a lot of influence over what that game.
I don't know.
I reckon they would have, given the history of that company, of Ingress. Where you look where Ingress
There are
is.
terrible social features.
there are none.
Yes. just get your friend code. It's a 792-digit hex-based number. Just see, you've got it uses voice recognition to enter it.
You know what I was thinking? What I want today is I want Nintendo to release a special battery pack accessory, because you need one for this game. That's like in the shape of a Pokédex.
Oh,
So you put your thing into your Pokédex and you walk around with it, and then it also doubles as a battery pack.
I'm judging you.
Great. You can have that one, Nintendo. You can have it.
I'm going to dress up as Team Rocket.
No, we'll be blasting off again.
It's a great way to get this work.
It is.
Wish I could blast off it. Anyway, so we're moving on.
I was going to say, he's talking about blasting off, and then you don't get dirty.
What's to be dirty about that?
Yeah.
Anyway. So, before we go on about probably the other huge thing in the last couple of weeks, let's just talk some random crap. So, Overwatch has had some fun stuff.
Yes.
Now, there's been some stuff in the last couple of days, but there was something a few weeks ago that I wanted to talk about. Because I thought it was kind of interesting. So, Overwatch had an avoid this player feature to basically avoid bullshit trolls and everything. They ended up taking it out because it had an unintended effect where top-rated players would not be able to find games anymore.
Yes.
Because everybody wanted to avoid the sniper prick that could take me out every time and all that.
Yeah.
So suddenly, these people that were, top ranked,
You can't get a game.
were waiting like half an hour plus to get into a game.
And then weren't they playing with really early players? Like
yes,
really
because they couldn't be in the tier that they actually were, so they ended up playing with people that they're even more, that would open up the bracket even more, that they'd be playing with really low skill people who would have an even worse time against them. So I thought that was really interesting, because I liked the idea of its inclusion when I first heard it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, how do you stop that kind of exploitation of it? Because I don't want people to be blocked for that, but at the same time, I actually would like to. If someone was just like so not in my skill bracket that they're trouncing me,
I'd do it. Like if I went in and I was dominated by someone, I'd be like, I don't want to play against this person.
Yeah.
Why would I want to play against that person? I want a nice even match.
I love that it would happen so much, even with Overwatch's huge client base, that it still had a noticeable effect on people.
Yeah, that blows my mind. Like that seems like it's more MMR just not working. The match ranking system, because I mean, because this is my first PC FPS playing online. Like I'm not coming across those people that can just dominate a match like that. So I missed the avoid player feature because I never encountered those problems, and I guess it sucks for those guys. But for me, it was like this real strong level of satisfaction where I didn't have to feel like I was going out of my way to write up a complaint and a report about why I'm reporting this person. I could just be like, avoid this guy. And it's just that little bit of a win.
If someone's just like annoying and piping through music, I mean, the mute button's there. That's great. But if they're an obnoxious player,
that is my email, not Pokemon Go. Which is quite distracting.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting turn of events. They're still maybe bringing it back.
Yeah.
It's like, because I don't necessarily, people don't want to tattle on people so much, but we would like to avoid dickheads.
Yeah. Like, since they got rid of Avoid, I think I've reported 2, maybe 3 people for like prickish abuse, that sort of thing. Whereas before I would have just avoided them, muted them, moved on. What
if you flip it and you have prefer this player?
Which we have.
Oh, it's in there, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I didn't know.
You ignorant tosser.
Oh, well.
Prefer this player I really like. I don't know how much how well it works.
Yeah. Okay, apparently it doesn't, because they've got to put in avoid this player.
Well, originally it had avoid this player, prefer this player, which was a cool system, and I guess like in the like idyllic fantasy Overwatch world, it would have created all these like sort of hubs where you don't deal with the trolls and you're just friends with people.
It creates utopia. But
with...
instead we created a fascist nightmare.
Exactly.
That's what always happens.
Is that they need a report for griefing a bit easier then?
But then someone's got to moderate that and actually deal with it.
It is very easy to report.
Yeah.
Like, at least on PC. I've heard that on consoles it's a bit of a headache. But on PC, very easy to report.
Okay.
And also, the preferred player feature is something I really like, and I use it quite regularly too. Generally,
But what if you
someone
prefer to
playing
play it
versus
when they're on your team, and then when they're on the other team, you hate
Yeah,
them?
I've come across this. Hey,
Preferred when on my team.
Yeah.
It does mean you control in the way of preferring all the really crap players.
yeah.
That's true, yeah.
So, past that, Overwatch released its competitive play mode.
Yep.
You played with that?
Yeah, quite a bit.
So what is it like? What does it do?
Okay, so I like it. I like it more than quick play
Mm.
for nothing other than the match length increases dramatically because it. So in quick play, you'd probably remember that when you'd play a match, normally you'd come up against the same team compositions, even with randoms, just flipping, attacking, defending next game with some changes. Competitive basically locks that in, so the whole game is you're playing attacking, now you're playing defending, and it gives you a longer game. And I really like it because it's much more focused on teamwork, and I've honestly found it to be less toxic than quick play.
Because there's a rank in it, and people are actually trying to move up ranks and do that, are all classes like served by that ranking well? Because it's one of those things, it's like, even TF2 or something, if you were the world's greatest healer, did not mean that you ranked on the scoreboards the same way a sniper does, or something like that.
No, well, there was talk a bit, I didn't experience it personally, but there was talk that Mercy in particular was getting the short end of the stick when it came to your rewards for the end of a match. But generally, because people will play a pool of characters, it doesn't seem to affect them that much.
Okay.
And honestly, I've been pretty consistent with I'll gain this much for winning, lose this much for losing, regardless of which characters I'm playing.
Cool. Why I like competitive mode is because someone who is a filthy casual, it takes people who give a shit out of the casual pool.
Yeah.
I just go play with terrible teams, but I kill some things and I heal some things and I feel good. That's why I like it. Get out of my casual game. Let me be a filthy casual.
We are filthy casuals.
I just want to.
Yeah, it is weirdly more relaxing. I don't know why. I think there's this weird reverse level of pressure where you sort of know that everyone on your team is trying to do well, so no one's going to just purposely fuck with you to boost their own sort of MLG YouTube skills.
So with StarCraft 2, there's the term ladder anxiety, which is when you're serious. Whenever I did any rank stuff in StarCraft 2, I'd go super anxious.
I went the same thing with Rocket League.
So there's nothing like that with the competitive mode in. You don't get
that.
ladder anxiety.
Well, one person I saw was describing the competitive mode as a bucket, not a ladder. So you're not really supposed to move up or down. Like you're not supposed to progress over the season. Your ranking is how good you are, not a ranking that you're currently at that you're working your way up or down from.
How's it like a bucket?
Okay, so everyone's...
Sorry.
I don't know. This is someone else's metaphor. But essentially, it's not like you're climbing up or down. It's just you are where you are, and you can move up and down. But
It's like a stack of buckets.
Oh, like tiered buckets.
Like tiered buckets.
Oh yeah.
Imagine a bunch of rats in a bucket.
Oh yeah. And the tails are caught together.
Yeah, you've got a king rat. But you can climb over a rat to get a bit higher. But you're just sort of in a bucket.
Is it just your bucket, or is it the bucket that everyone's in?
We're all sharing a bucket.
Is there more than one bucket?
It's just the one bucket.
Okay.
We've only got one bucket.
Right,
Do you float to the top?
Okay, I think I understand what it is. Is it you take a selection of players, and then that particular
No, there's
section's
only
ranked?
one bucket.
There's only one bucket.
But
we're all at different parts in the bucket.
there's no multiple buckets.
I'm sorry, everyone, about this analogy.
I thought I understood it, but no, turns out
you were right.
No, it's like because the player pool, it isn't your ranking.
You
Isn't
play a
about
Play a bucket.
the player bucket. It's not about moving up specifically. You just want to go through rank, and each ranked win you get like these little victory points, and then at the end of the season you can buy shiny gold.
The better you are, does it help fill the communal bucket?
That's what they.
No,
said.
everyone's got their own bucket.
No!
It's one bucket.
Everyone has a ladle.
It's one bucket and it's red. So at the end of each competitive game, if you win, you get a competitive token, which is just an in-game currency that at the end of the season, so we'll do, I think they said it's 3 months of a competitive season.
That's sort of the scale
Yeah.
they're doing with seasons with
At
Diablo and
the
stuff.
end of which you can use those tokens on cosmetic rewards.
And are those cosmetic rewards just for that season?
They'd be permanent, wouldn't they?
Oh, they're permanent.
Yeah.
Oh, they're permanent, like
But you
unique
can-
for that season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the seasonal.
As far as I can tell.
Mainly they're stickers for the bucket.
Yeah.
Well, that's something they do with Diablo 3. They have seasons, and you can earn items that only exist for that season.
I think Rocket League does similar, don't they?
Yeah, Season 1 was Crown, Season 2 was Rocket Trails. So,
Season 3,
not sure.
buckets. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, so before I cross this off my little list, if you've noticed, we've tried to ditch all technology on the show now, so I've decided to use paper
even
and
though
pen.
we've got this thing sitting here.
That's for
recording it.
emergency research.
We're recording it through a can tied to a string, tied to another can. But there's new Overwatch news today as well.
Yes, so tell me about that, because I don't...
No, you care a little.
I care a little bit.
Don't you? Yeah.
I say I don't care because I pretend I don't love, but I do.
Well, continuing on the competitive train, they've made a change that there won't be double picking heroes in competitive mode
Oh
anymore,
yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Okay, yep.
which is a bit disappointing. Like, it's something a lot of people called for.
I can't have 6 bastions?
No. On a few, when I played in
Just picturing that.
just gonna put it out there. When I played in Overwatch, we both started out as Pharah, and then like I got a couple of kills on her.
Oh!
She went Bastion. So I'm Bastion shaming Anais when she's not here.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so you can't double pick anymore, and so this is something people have called on for a while because they thought, oh, double picking is so annoying, particularly on console, the double Torbjorn turrets were becoming a real problem, multiple Torbjorn turrets. And then people were worried on PC particularly that there were like the Hanzo mains, the Widowmaker mains. And these are the sniper characters that are sort of like not super helpful.
Well, this also forces people to cycle what they're
Yeah,
playing.
exactly. But like everyone was hoping that we could get rid of this, so like you won't get into a game where like 3 people pick Hanzo and they're all too stubborn to change. Hanzo's the Japanese man with the bow.
I know.
And dragons.
And he can... Oh, no, he's the one that can reflect everyone's shit.
Genji.
Genji!
That's Hanzo's brother.
Oh, it's like a Ken and Ryu thing. They're not real brothers, though.
No, but they're like
What,
they're
Ken
like,
and Ryu are?
they're like fight brothers.
Fight bros.
Yeah, they're like bros in spirit.
But I'm a little disappointed by the double picking removal because last night I played a game. It was a lot of fun, but we lost a player on our side, so we were playing 5v6 and we were the 5. But we ended up winning the game because we picked triple Winston, Lucio, and a soldier. And this probably doesn't mean much to you.
I know Winston is the gorilla.
Winston is the scientist.
Fucking Jesus.
And it was really fun. Like, we just coordinated, and by using that sort of cheese sort of strategy, we managed to overcome the disadvantage we were at.
I've never seen gorilla cheese.
You don't want gorilla cheese.
So I don't know. Like, I thought there was a place for it, but the other end of the spectrum was in competitive play, and they wanted to make this an esport. It was getting very boring having 2 teams with the exact same composition.
Yeah. Well, if they get enough characters, they can get into the...
So just on the double pick, is that include across teams?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, because that would be cool.
Well, if it gets...
That would go
where it's
Yeah.
going, if they had enough characters, they could get into drafting.
Yeah.
And drafting in
Oh,
MOBAs...
That's what most of the game really is.
Yeah. Then it's like, who you going to pick, who you going to ban?
But that's why the game is so boring.
They're doing this in the competitive scene, but only with matches. Maps, rather.
And also, isn't there any character?
There is. It's Anna, a long hinted at character. She's
Sniper heals?
Sniper Heals,
Yeah,
which is so interesting.
Sneals.
Sneals. Yeah, and I watched the video for her, and she seems like she's going to really change up how the game is played.
Well, I like heals. I love playing support characters, so I'm definitely keen to jump in and give her a go.
But you have terrible aim.
That's why I might actually play the PC version if I'm going to be playing a
think
sniper.
people yell at you enough at the moment for not healing them when you play those support
I
characters?
heal. I'm a pretty good support.
Because I imagine a lot of players who pick this healing sniper are going to get griefed pretty hard by their team.
Well,
Even though they've seemingly made it that it's easy to heal people with your sniper rifle.
Crossing Overwatch off the list.
forever. This is the
We
forever.
didn't even get into the point of like all the Tumblr headcanon fanfiction that Anna was in a sexual relationship with Mercy, and then Anna disappeared, so
I've-
Mercy picked up a
I've
sexual
crossed it off
relationship
the
with
list.
Farah.
We'll have to come back to it. Now,
I need to go print a new list.
now Anais been playing Techromancer.
How's that?
So,
How is it, Anais? Oh, it's
Don't you
pretty.
mean Technomancer?
is it?
You know what you said?
Oh no!
You said
Tech
Techromancer.
Techromancer, the Great Dream.
Techromancer.
It's a great Dreamcast game.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
You can-
I was thinking it was a very subpar, like, visual novel.
No. What you want to watch the film Necromancer?
Watch the film Necromancer?
Yeah, but you're not thinking of the right thing. It's like
Oh!
necrophiliac.
Yeah. To be
Anyway, yeah, that's a great game. You can play a giant robot. You can shoot trains out of your hand.
It's like a fighting game.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good fighting game, actually. Okay, so let's talk about some of the shit for a while. A little bit of news, a little bit of newsy stuff that I just thought was worth mentioning. Last year's E3, I think, we saw this weird teaser for Criterion's new game, which the pitch was, with no details, basically Burnout Paradise, because we like to preempt every sort of driving experience with that high watermark in gaming history, but with everything. So, boats, cars, bikes, planes, helicopters, everything. We never got to see it, and now it's cancelled.
Oh, it's so sad. But
There goes my dream of a video game
Burnout-
based on It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. Oh, Wacky Races. It's a bit
True, yeah.
because that was just really the cartoon version of It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World.
That's true, yeah.
And there was a Dreamcast game on that too. This is basically the Dreamcast show now.
How about this? Did the Dreamcast have a game? Because this is my new, like, fantasy game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And because I saw Zootopia,
yeah.
which was Disney Pixar, right?
Yeah. It's
Yep.
very erotic. Supposed to just keep talking and let it slide.
Adding the word Disney to my not just for some reason. I would love like a sandbox Grand Theft Auto, that Lego police game you were playing, version set in that world.
That'd be good.
well, if you're jumping between different animals, you get to play with scale. Paul loves playing with
I
scale.
love scale.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
great.
The game,
And if you play a snake, you get to play with scale.
Oh.
Snake! Get out of here, Snake! Actually, since we're sort of Dreamcasting, semi-related Dreamcast, because we're going one generation back, the Saturn, after apparently 23 years, that seems longer than I thought, has had its DRM cracked. That's right. It hadn't been cracked
been
until
done
now. Nope.
Okay.
I think they're Aussie, because there was a nice little doco on it, and they all had Aussie accents, so I assume...
So we can go play Shining Force 3 now?
It was a guy that wanted to use it for chiptunes, basically, and now you can sort of sideload stuff through a USB,
Okay.
which is, well, let's face it, you're not buying new Saturn games, so let's not get too uppy about that. But the thing is, once CD drives came in, we now suffer the fate of all our drives dying if the systems have any use. So since you can now put in a non-mechanical replacement for it, Saturns can now live for a much longer time. And we might get access to a few things that are really hard to get access to. Because you can't,
So-
as far as I'm aware, you can't really emulate a Saturn
So
model either.
this is a hardware mod that lets you load stuff from USB.
Yeah, and I don't believe he's made it public yet either,
Yeah.
but there's no real reason not
So
to,
you're
other than
gonna
cleaning
you're
it
gonna
up.
dig out your Saturn?
I may. Because my Saturn is not necessarily the most reliable machine these days.
Yes.
And my dream, like I had to throw out my first Dreamcast, and then you gave me yours because you're like, why would I ever play that again? And I'm like, because I wants to play it now. I need to play Flogian Brothers.
Is that where my Dreamcast went? Did I give it to you?
Yeah.
Well,
you forget?
Yeah. Same with my GameCube. I don't know where that went.
You gave
I
it
lost
to
my
your
game.
sisters, I think.
Did I? I can't remember.
Sisters or cousins you gave your
Gave it
GameCube
away.
to?
I lost my GameCube in the 2011 floods. Truly the tragedy of that
Yeah,
event.
that is the worst thing I've heard about.
Irony
this
is
club.
it's the easiest one to pick up and carry.
Actually, okay.
Oh, the other thing is, this is more of an annoyance than anything else. I also lost, I guess I lost my 64 and my PlayStation too. But I
Wait,
saved
PlayStation, 2?
PlayStation as well.
Now they're gonna fuck you. Instead of the PS5, it's gonna be the PS as well, and then nothing's gonna work.
I can't wait till the PlayStation on top of that.
Yeah.
But I lost my PlayStation and it had the third disc for Final Fantasy VIII in it. And that was such a motherfucker because I don't want to go through the first two discs again.
So good.
That game's never getting finished.
But speaking of this generation, a lot of my last 3 weeks
The damn kids.
has been weirdly playing emulation.
Yep.
Because they released the new version of the Dolphin emulator,
Mm.
which has given it yet another performance boost and pretty much made most GameCube emulation perfect.
Yep.
So I've been playing a lot of my old favorite GameCube games.
What's that?
So I've been playing Super Mario Sunshine,
Yep.
Killer 7, Metroid Prime, Chibi Robo. I had another couple in there. So good things. Very easily, the lovely GameCube adapter that was made for Wii U is compatible with Dolphin.
Oh, nice.
So I get to play these games in high resolution, nice steady frame rates with a GameCube controller on my PC. You can force widescreen on a lot of games.
Yep.
Works on some, not on others. But, you know, playing Metroid... I think Metroid actually already natively could support widescreen, but high res...
How does high-res Metroid look?
It looks great. Because even though it's a more realistic style...
Yeah.
It's still it's soft gradients on all the faces and everything, so everything just looks sharp.
You know, that makes me a bit excited because I've been wanting to go back and play Metroid.
Yeah.
And I prefer playing it with the controller than the Wii U.
Yeah.
Or the Wii. Wiimote.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because I liked Metroid Prime 3 with the Wiimote, but it was a game designed with the Wiimote.
Yeah.
When you went back and played 1 and 2, when it was like...
It was okay.
It works,
it was okay.
but I'd rather not. Yeah.
They so nailed the controls back in Metroid Prime. So I can get the Dolphin emulator. I've got my adapter. I can run it then back through my TV, play it in 1080p, and it's just going to look...
Yeah, it looks really well. It runs really well
hard.
too. Yeah. So that's been... Don't know your feelings on emulation. I don't know who's going to get too up and up. We own all these fucking games anyway.
Yeah, we bought all these damn
You want to see my shelf of freaking GameCube games? I got a lot, including some of James's that he forgot he lent it. I think I've still got Twin Snakes there.
Oh, is that where that is?
Might be. Well, I might have given
Actually,
that one back.
no, I
can't
did get that
remember.
one back. I think, unfortunately, the disc on that one got a bit busted.
Should have let it with me. I looked after it. Anyway,
Now
so it's been great. And
Yeah.
like some things I found in Killer 7, I forced widescreen, and it made the aiming didn't work properly.
Oh.
Real trouble in that game. But that game is so weird. Have you ever played Killer 7?
No, it's been on my to playlist with
So
Dolphin for a while now.
It's before Suda 51 was really a known name, and it's just like it's third person, except when you're moving around, all you do is hold A, and he runs forward. And then when you get to junctions, you just choose the direction you're going to run. But it's still a real-time action game.
Oh.
So something might attack you, so you just stop holding A, then you push the first-person button, then you've got to scan, then you've got to shoot them in a weak spot. It's so weirdly convoluted, but it actually plays really well. It's just got a stupid style to it, which is great fun. But yeah, Dolphin Emulator, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I need to get back into
I didn't know about that dongle. That's good.
Yeah, I haven't. I think I tested after playing Mario Sunshine. I'm like, this is pretty good. Although I was having the controls just aren't as smooth as I recalled. And it's like then I go like, let's just play Galaxy again to make sure. It's like, oh yeah, Galaxy is so much better.
So what you're saying is I should probably go play Galaxy?
You never played either Galaxy? They're fantastic
Yeah,
games.
I've heard good things.
Yeah,
They run pretty well on Dolphin too, I'm pretty sure.
they look real in high res. They look really, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Twilight Princess?
I haven't bothered.
Twilight Princess, on the last iteration of Dolphin, admittedly it was the GameCube version,
Yeah,
but it still ran pretty much flawlessly. It was brilliant.
I've been eyeing off as they go on sale a bit the Twilight Princess with the amiibo, the Midna and
Oh, yeah,
Wolflink.
yeah.
But the problem is I just don't care about that game enough to play it again. I enjoyed it when I played it, but it's just like it's totally not an exciting Zelda to go back to.
Well, I just want my Skyward Sword HD.
I would like them to take Skyward Sword, take another pass at it.
Ditch the hour-long tutorial.
Yeah, just get rid of all the hand holding.
Yeah, because
It's like the game's big enough as it is.
I
It
love
doesn't need
Skyward
it.
Sword. It's amazing, but
For a
it's
Zelda
a slog.
game, was it a surprisingly long hand holding?
Yes.
Because, I mean,
Hours and hours and
Yeah,
hours.
it's a really long slog. The game is amazing, but it takes a lot to get through.
That's
I better
what
get into the Skyward Sword.
That's what does look
Point.
exciting about Breath of the Wild, because from all reports, other than just like you waking up and starting, you just get tossed into the world.
Good.
Which is good because we know how to play video games.
Yeah, I've been video gaming for a while.
I
Yeah.
never know about this because Stan Lee says about comics. Every comic is someone's
It's someone's first
Yeah.
comic.
And I want to know how much that applies to video games these days.
It depends on the game.
Because I mean, like, my first Zelda was Ocarina of Time, and like granted that was different for a lot of people because it was sort of stepping into 3D and everything. But I imagine there would have been a lot of people who played that after being well versed in Link to the Past.
Yeah.
It would have been like, yeah, I know all this already.
I'd say for most kind of modern console games, they're pretty terrible for it. Like if you're, like I was watching someone play Bioshock Infinite, and she was a gamer that had played a lot of like JRPGs and things like that, and she was playing Bioshock Infinite, and she jumped in and she wasn't used to first person controls, and she was completely lost. Like in that game, if you're, yeah, she probably would have liked the 20-minute Zelda intro to kind of get her over the line. So most games don't. Mobile probably more so. Yeah, the audience is so broad that you've got to hit like a lot of marks, but.
All it really comes down to is that every game should include it, but it's the subtlety of which you include it.
Well,
which I'm going to bring into our next big topic of the day.
All right.
So a game got released 2 weeks ago now on Xbone, and now 1 week ago on Steam, and that is Playdead's follow-up to Limbo, Inside.
Oh, we can talk about this in great detail. No,
We're
we're not going to do that.
We're not going to talk about it in detail because every single thing about this game is a spoiler. What I was saying about it, and then I found out someone much more famous than me said the exact same thing, so I guess he'll get the credit now. And I think he played it first anyway, so I guess
You're welcome, Total Biscuit.
No, it was John Blow, wasn't it?
Jonathan Blow.
Described it as the most polished game of all time.
Yes.
And I believe that is a very fair assessment of it. So its start is exactly the same as Limbo. You are a young boy in a forest running to the right. And you keep doing that, and it starts relatively pedestrian and then goes to crazy places. But we will not touch on those crazy places because this is a game. A friend of mine at work said, "Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. I've watched about an hour and a half on YouTube of it." I'm like,
so you watched the game?
Yeah, like you realise my playtime was about 2 hours,
I think
right?
It is.
That was the one hesitation for me getting it because I've got that. I subscribe to that whole $1 for an hour of playtime thing.
$1 for an hour of playtime.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's you're a rough man to please. I'm happy for cinema prices. In that, but even
which cinema?
But even this.
But even this doesn't mean that meet the cinema prices mark.
Yeah.
But this is a premium experience, which whilst I don't think everyone should necessarily pay that price, everyone should probably pay at least the price of a movie ticket and experience it and not have it spoiled for them.
Yeah. So this ask of, I think I paid $26 for it. I got it on Xbox. Played it on that. For 2 hours, like I personally found it worth it.
Oh yes,
we had an hour-long conversation afterwards,
and there's still more I want to talk about.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's part of the what I'm getting out of
exactly.
Out of that money. It's and it has made me think about narrative a little different. So I think for me it's worth it, but for most punters, I don't know. It's a big ask.
Yeah.
Well, I loved Limbo to death. I replayed it a few times, I think, and
so
even I'm still hesitant. Like this one.
This makes like the quality of Limbo look like they did a shit on a piece of paper and then they sort of smeared it on the wall. The level of
and I'm the one who got in trouble for the bucket analogy.
I think my analogy is that.
So took a shit in a bucket.
This is the example I keep using. And I'll try to do a quick little visual thing for this. So sorry, listeners. So basically, at one point in the game, there's a lever sticking out of a wall like that. So it's up high, and you run, and you've got to jump up. Now there's a point on the end here where you're supposed to grab it. Now, but I ran too far. I ran up to the wall, and I pressed jump. I'm like, okay. So in a game, there's a few things that might happen. I might jump up and I'll grab this part of the lever anyway, pull it down, fine. I might jump up and the game will just flick me over there, and that's fine too. Or jump up and nothing will happen.
Yep.
And this has been pretty polished, so maybe I'll sort of jump at an angle automatically, it doesn't matter. No, the character jumped up and did a kick off the wall and grabbed it. This is the only level like that in the game. This is the only time that animation could ever be used.
Yes.
They made a custom animation for in case you took one step too many to grab a lever.
That's incredible.
And that's where the polish. That's where that comment about polish. Because there's other examples of that in the game.
There's heaps there.
It's like you do enough playtesting and they've gone, well at this point this is what the player behavior was. Let's always respond. So there's still like a very finite number of possibilities for what you can do in the game. It's a platform. You can only press so many buttons. There's 2 buttons and you can run.
There's only an action button and a jump button and
that's it. So they can just figure out basically all the permutations of what the player can do, or the vast majority of them, and then respond. So there were times where I'm like, they've actually just gotten a little bit further with how it responds to you.
So because there's a lot of things to talk about without spoiling.
Yeah.
But sort of what we're talking about with learning. Because games like this, and especially good puzzle games, like the Witness and everything does this as well, and is that there are tutorials everywhere, but you just can't see them because it's in. So when I replay the beginning of Inside and I have to learn to jump up on the first log, it's just because there's nothing else I can do until I push the jump button. Yeah. I can't move anywhere. It's like I can't do anything. I just push the stick and I start moving. Things like that. It's
the player always knows to go right.
And
at the beginning of the game, the player always knows to go right.
Classic is you go left, and there's a secret. And spoiler, there's no secret when you go left.
Oh.
So the good thing about the way it teaches there is that you've been going right. That's what you're meant to do. So figure it out.
Yeah.
Just reduce the possibility space so the player has to figure it out.
So a lot of Inside has stuck in my head since I've played it. I've gone back and replayed sequences of it because I think they're incredibly evocative. They're beautiful. Like, most of the scenarios are amazing. I spent a 20-minute conversation talking about the water bubbles. So it's one of those. If you can appreciate attention to detail in it, it's great. But it's also so the narrative, which is a big complaint of it, is that it is not a It's not a straightforward narrative. There is not you do not finish this game saying, "This is what happened."
All right.
Yes, which, good or bad in that, but it's but every single scene independently, it certainly has an emotional journey to it.
Sure.
Which is where you can go okay, what do you want from a narrative? What does it? Yeah. The use of sound effects is the very, very minimalist music. Most of the time, sound effects are also kept to a minimum, and it was one of these things there's this whole section where there's just this thud in the background. And after that section, you find out what that thud is, and it's amazing. But you've been building up to this thud without really even knowing it for 20 minutes. It's it's subtle and beautiful, and there's just so many nice things. It sort of ties into Limbo as well.
Is it accessible as a game?
Yeah.
Because I remember a Limbo, it was quite a common criticism that people found it a bit too hard.
Limbo, Inside is easier than Limbo.
Well, I think I have a very low frustration tolerance when it comes to platformers.
Yeah.
They're not my game. I don't really like them that much. I've finished it in one sitting.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's also tied into, when we're talking about polish, the responsiveness and the way the controls work. Because as we said, there's an action button and a jump button.
Yeah.
Now, if you are...
And I hope directional buttons.
So there's...
No.
So
it's nothing but quick time events. Spoilers.
So there's a crate in front of you.
Yep.
If you just walk, you'll just walk past the crate. He'll just walk around it.
Okay.
No problem. If you jump onto it, he'll pull himself up. If you push up on it, he'll climb up it. If you want to push that crate, even if you're not at the crate yet, if you hold the action button, he'll just start pushing it as he's moving along when he gets up to it. If you're standing in front of the crate, he'll grab the front of it and he'll move it. So there's none of this juggling to get into the right position to do anything.
Sure, yeah.
Very basic things like if there's a button to push, when you hit the push button, it's pushed. There's no trying to time the animation with it or anything. It's no, fuck that. Direct access to it. It still animates. It still looks like he does it. But the reactiveness of the world and the way everything integrates. There's a few puzzles where mechanically what you're doing is quite complex. There might be a quick succession of, say, 6 or 7 steps.
Sure.
I've asked everyone I know that's played it, I said, how many times did it take you to do it? Every single person, 1.
Oh.
Because once you've solved the puzzle in your head, the smoothness and the accuracy and the fuzzy logic of the controls, there's no barrier to being able to pull off your solution.
There was actually one time I saw where the fuzziness was really apparent to me.
Yeah.
And I won't say what it was, but it was very obvious this thing I did was not going to land.
Yeah.
But I could see it go bloop. but that I was okay with it because I understand it. I've solved your puzzle.
Yeah.
And
because
that's it.
There was an article online talking about how it's so overrated, which of course there's always going to be stuff like that. Yeah. And they're saying, why do people love this when they didn't love Unravel? And that was exactly what I said. I said, I liked Unravel, but you'd solve a puzzle and then you'd spend the next 5 minutes plus trying to pull off the puzzle because the physics and the controls were you just weren't never that confident about how far you were going to go, or if you could make if you were supposed to be able to make that jump, or if you were supposed to do something else, and that kind of thing frustrates people.
Yeah, and they also didn't hammer on about certain mechanics because the game's quite short. It's if you get to something and it's here's a particular mechanic with a certain thing, once you got it, they execute it once. I was like, okay, done.
That's it.
We're going to move on. It's not, let's spend the next 40 minutes doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah. There's an early point where there's a puzzle which is about spacing, and I'm like, oh, this is... Since it was early in the game, I'm like, shit, is most of this game going to be about trying to get all the spacing right and like moving things in sequence? Because that can be an entire game. I've played other games like it.
Oh, yeah.
And whilst it's fine, I don't want to be there fiddly, like, pull out a 5 away, then if I move this, okay, then they'll sync up, great. No, it's with 1, that was it. And it moved on, because it's not a puzzle game. It's an adventure platformer with some puzzles along the way, but the puzzles are just sort of a way to liven it up, really.
Yeah, sure.
It's almost like, the game is in many ways a walking simulator.
Yeah, if you would actually...
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Like, if you took out all the walking, it'd be shorter.
Yeah. Now, the thing is,
Probably true for most games.
some of the walking is gameplay. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here. But it's the story of what you're going through and all these different environments and the way things react to you and you react to them. The character itself it acts. So, you know, it feels things and it emotes to things in the world and everything has weight. It is an amazing experience, which there's a reason it's been getting lots of 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
For sure.
And
Does
whilst,
it get 8.5 out of 8.5 on the special 8.5-bit ratings?
we like to call it the spectrum.
It's definitely on the spectrum.
Is it laying on the spectrum?
I have been started seeing a therapist, and apparently I am off the spectrum.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you now, guys. This one's going to be off the spectrum.
Woo! We are refracting things and going everywhere. Okay, so Inside, basically I think it is an amazing achievement. It's an amazing game. The reason it took 6 years to make, let's say probably 5 years. They did ported Limbo to everything.
Yeah.
And they probably had a few months of drinking champagne after it shipped. But yeah, Limbo is still a good game, but they've really shown, and it makes me excited about, because Limbo set a lot of standards. A lot of people copied it. You know, the
Badlands, but basically that silhouette thing.
The silhouette look, also the lone protagonist, also the game with violent deaths. Actually, that was just one thing I wanted to say about it. That's a big twist from Limbo. So Limbo was, you walk along, something terrible happens to you, and then you work out how to get around it.
Yep.
Pretty much universally Inside, nothing ever surprises you. You just know that it's like, well, that's going to fucking kill me.
Oh,
and if you don't do it, like the deaths are just as brutal, if not more effective than Limbo.
Yeah.
They are.
There's some I don't want that thing to happen.
Yeah, but at no point was it like, you walked in a room and suddenly something stabbed you in the face.
Sure,
Don't do that again. So it's like they've really learnt from that.
Yeah. Well, that keeps the flow going. You don't break it.
Yeah. So like someone said there were unavoidable deaths. I'm like, I don't think you're playing the game right.
Yeah.
There are no unavoidable deaths.
Oh.
But you shouldn't say no one's playing it. People play the game however they want.
It's just they did it wrong.
Yeah, they did it wrong. But so this isn't going to set standards in, like, it's a 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer. That's all been done before. But it creates this sort of like upper tier
expectation.
Of these indies of everything. So it's so the controls for one. Hopefully people take a lot of notes from that.
Yeah.
And then also this level of polish, like AAA doesn't polish this much because it would be insane to polish this much on a huge product.
Sure.
But on a small scope project, it is possible.
Yeah.
And it's kind of awesome.
I like to think of it as like the short film of video games.
Yeah.
Like just taking that 2 hour, 3 hour experience, doing something kind of interesting with it, and polishing the shit out of it. Like, I don't have to have 16 hours, 100 hours, 400 hours. I'm actually happy to pay money for just a well polished piece of media. The pricing, where they're at, I still don't know about.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind maybe down to like the $15 mark.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think that would feel, but it's still okay.
I still did not feel burnt afterwards.
Yeah.
And whilst I say to people like, it's your choice, but either way you're going to have an amazing experience.
Yeah,
I gotta say, every time I've enjoyed a game, regardless of how much time I've got out of it, I've always felt it was worth the purchase.
Yeah.
So Inside, it's fucking good. Speaking of,
not in a gameplay standard, but is Inside going to be this year's Undertale, where it just builds up this cult-like worship?
I don't think it'll get
is it more because it's an amazing? Does it?
It's hard to cosplay.
Yeah, look,
some
game
shadows.
designers are going to nerd out over it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very gamey game.
Yeah.
But I don't think Undertale is a very gamey game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every once in a while I'll see someone that's, I don't know what to describe, just like very, very mainstreamer that's played it, and they just are like, what? I just played through it as this platform or whatever. Like, because all the things that impress us greatly as people that care about the craft of games is meaningless to them.
Yeah.
And that's fine. They're not supposed to be. It's like, if I watch a very technical film a lot of the time, you'll go, what the fuck did I just watch, Paul? It's like, it's amazing. Did you see that? It's like, whatever. And that's fine. That's whatever floats your boat. But if you take any joy from that, the most joy I've ever had in that sort of regards. Okay. Off the list.
Does it feel good? Is it like cathartic?
It is a little bit,
off?
although I haven't really been crossing everything off, so it doesn't really work out.
I'll get my words not to say to Paul list out for the next show.
It'll be good,
So
it'll
as
be
you're
good.
crossing off your list, I'll be adding to mine.
I've actually been playing a lot of stuff, so how are we for time at the moment? I forget when we started. It doesn't really
Doesn't
matter.
matter. It's our show. We can do what we
We
want.
can do whatever we
Boys
fucking
Club.
want, unless the camera runs out.
I hope not.
System
Now I'm
Shock.
paranoid.
You played System Shock?
I did play System Shock.
I played System Shock. Did you play
No, I
System
didn't
Shock?
play System Shock.
Oh, so
You guys can tell me about System
the
Shock.
System Shock remake is currently on Kickstarter, and it's got a demo out, and it's very interesting. So, James, you are more of a System Shock person than
Yes.
I am, so let's start with you.
Okay, so
Well, this is what I think.
all right. So it's a very interesting remake, and I'm hesitant to call it reboot because the environments are very heavily mapped off the original. And this is almost, I don't know if it's too much because
I'm very much the same. At one point, I'm super impressed. At the same point, I'm like, but is this the right thing to do? I don't know.
yeah,
But
because okay, so System Shock is precursor to BioShock,
yeah.
and is a game which is incredibly ahead of its time. When that game came out, there were audio logs. So you walk around, pick up an audio log.
It's a true 3D game.
True 3D game had things like leaning. Had an RPG
Sorry to interrupt,
system.
What do you mean by true 3D?
So early 3D, when you got things like Doom and stuff
Yep.
like that, that's not 3D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
That's
on
they faked
2.5D.
it. Yeah,
they kind of faked it.
This is 3D.
Yeah.
All right.
And it did a lot of things before we had a lot of the modern conventions that made them good. So it played a bit like an adventure game, like there was a cursor you could move around. It didn't really work, but it did a lot of really great things.
Yeah.
And so it's always a game that I've wanted someone to go back and remake. So they've gone back and the controls all feel great. Like they've nailed the. You don't really have to lean, but you can if you want. But
Yeah, I love that. Every once in a while, I hit the
Yeah.
lean key. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Like I found it. Like I still had the flexibility to click on things like pretty easily. Like you just put the cursor at it and whatever. Like it worked. The game worked fine. But when it comes to level design, they've basically got the original levels and they've just put geometry over the top and dressed it up. Like
Oh.
the layout is 100% identical.
They're not even really dressed up. They're still the original levels. They've just the things that were on the wall
Yeah.
are now extrapolated from the wall.
So by doing that, they've gone back to the old level design, which is incredibly blocky because that game was basically built out of just big,
Very
cubes.
simple geometry.
Yeah. very simple geometry. So it looks amazing. Like the graphical technology wise, it's
I
good.
wouldn't say it looks amazing on that front, but it looks
It
solid.
looks good. Okay,
Yeah.
it looks good. But when it comes to the level design itself, it feels, I don't want to say dated because it was so ahead of its time, but it does look funny. Like
It's
it's
a
like
bit weird. Well, the whole visual design is funny because what they've done, which I think is, as I said, both amazing and I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do, is they've recreated the new world with the same. So the texture design of the wall, with all its tiles and panels and everything, it's just been replicated and then, like, bump mapped so much it's actually models now.
well, I think
And so, like, the heat tiles stick out and everything, but they've kept the same color palette, this weird neon thing and everything as well, which is cool because it looks exactly like it, and it's a total realization of the original. And at the same time, I'm like, it does feel weird.
Well, because the original design of it, I mean, you're in a space station, but it doesn't feel like that's how they build a space station. Like it looks like someone built a level out of blocks.
Yeah.
And so that's where you've gone to so much effort to recreate other elements of it in a modern context, and are taking a lot of inspiration from BioShock with like audio wise.
And
Yeah.
spending a lot of time on pointless animations.
Oh yeah, because the System Shock's got a similar kind of plasmid system that you had that came from System Shock, but it's cyberpunk, so it's just like modules and things you put in your head. Whenever the player picks one up, there is an insanely good animation of the player looking at it and like putting in their head. Like it's.
I just like you first pick up the wrench, the pipe. It's just like. It's like, what? Can I move yet?
Yeah.
Can I? What?
I kind of love that trope in video games. I don't know why. But like, I'm always playing a protagonist who's like no idea. Like, I guess there's a shotgun. Yep, still looks like a shotgun from this angle.
It's the overacting hands.
Yeah.
See, so they don't have anything. They don't let them speak, so they have to perform through their hands. It's like,
But the audio struck me as because I love System Shock when I was growing up. The audio, the music, they've taken a huge departure from. That's where they've gone closer to Bioshock. So they've gone a lot more atmospheric. They want it to be scary. I think
I love the music in Bioshock and Bioshock.
Well,
I thought that was like one of the real strong points of those games.
I think the original Bioshock music, System Shock music, was sort of fairly high tempo techno music.
Sure.
So it wasn't really something that atmospheric. So I actually think it's kind of a good move because like I did find it more atmospheric walking around with this kind of like, and they even do the thing when you walk out to the planet. You see it, they do like the kind of the music, very Bioshock. Like it's here's the big vista.
you've got to play out that moment.
Yeah, but then you've got those kinds of changes. But then you go back to the level design, and it's just 100% the same. Yeah. It's odd, and like the fanboy in me finds it immediately familiar. And I'm like, I love it. Because this is the game as I remember it, not as it was.
Well, it's reached its funding on Kickstarter. I think it's past its longest stretch goals as well. So the whole thing's being made and everything. So in that case, since it's just going to be made and they're sort of, this is the scope of it, I think I like it being a remake and not a reboot. Because it's like, this is literally the game, which is pretty clunky. Like, there are a few patches, like you can put mouse look at it now, make it full screen and stuff like that. But it is a bit clunky to go back to.
It is.
So it's like, this will be pretty much the same experience, but just more playable for more people. And what I didn't realize was with the mouse, that most things in the environment have descriptions, like old adventure games. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I can actually look at the heat tiles and look at like, oh, here we go. And so I'm just looking at everything. It was great. I had pretty good feelings about it on the whole.
I think because they're calling it a remake, I think I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it being, we're going to make a really good version of this old game.
It's a real oddity.
Yeah, because you could take System Shock and you could put $200 million on it, and you could reboot it, and it could be the caliber of Bioshock Infinite.
That's what I want System Shock 3 to be.
Yes, I would like that. But in this particular case, they've just saved a whole lot of level design money. Because it's for also it's a Kickstarter project where they want to have a high quality of polish.
Yeah.
By not saying, look, we're going to recreate all the levels. So take Black Mesa. Whereas like Black Mesa, they're going to go, we're going to remake Half-Life, and it took a very long time.
We still don't have Zen.
Is it over or not? And I can't find that mod anymore anywhere.
It's paid now.
Yeah, it's on Steam. It's
which
paid.
Is quite strange.
I think it's worth it. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. We did it as an oldie game club back in the day.
Oldie game club.
I think if we're going to look at the experience of Black Mesa, this is much more like we're just going to find a way to render the levels really pretty. We're going to go through, convert all the content, and then you're going to have a game pretty quick. Like Kickstarter, probably a good idea.
Yeah. And you can just get that demo. Yeah. Weirdly, the demo's distributed through Steam, GOG, and Humble.
Yeah, I just grabbed it on
It's Steam. It's like, why don't you just put it on Dropbox?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not Dropbox.
It's quite short as
Google
well.
Drive.
It's like, 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
It's worth checking out.
That sort of bullet heli action game Fury that was coming out on PS4 and PC as well, I think, and it ended up being in PS Plus. I greedily downloaded it because I was going to buy it anyway. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's like a mixture between like a top-down beat-em-up and a bullet hell. It looks really cool. I just at the moment I can't really talk about it because at the moment I literally haven't beat the tutorial because I hated it.
Oh, wow.
Because it doesn't the buttons don't respond like the way I think they should.
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as it builds up a little bit, I won't dash at the right time, and weirdly, like bosses have like 11 health bars because I think they've only got like 6, but then so it's 12 because it's 6, but they have to go to health down twice to lose one, and if you lose one while they get it back, So it's like a back and
like
forth.
a tug of war.
Yeah, which I don't mind as an idea, but
But is it fun?
it's not fun when you don't feel if the controls don't feel right. And I know a lot of people have found it felt fine, so I'm going to go back and try to give it time.
another go.
But
what's the fastest you've ever given up in a game? Like, what's the game where you've gone, yeah, I want to play.
Can I guess?
try.
Dungeon Keeper. Mobile.
Oh, I didn't download that. I guess I gave up on it before I downloaded it.
This is an open question. What about you, James? Like, a game you've been like, yeah, I really want to try that. That looks great. And
I'm trying to think of a game that I just rage quit and returned. I don't know. I can't think. Most things I'll give a fair bit of a go.
For me, it was Final Fantasy Tactics. And
Weirdly, I was going to say that Wii Advance Wars game, I don't think I ever played it more than the first level. I'm just like, that's what this is.
Yeah, I tried playing Final Fantasy Tactics because people raved about it. I'm like, yeah, this sounds amazing. And then gave it a shot, and like I wiped before I got to the first save.
You want to play Tactics Advance?
Yeah, that's what I'm playing.
Oh, that's the one you're playing?
The GBA?
Yeah. That's an easy one.
Well, we've all learned a little thing about Jeremy
I used
today.
to carry around like a class chart so I knew how to level up my characters to get the advanced classes I wanted. Yeah.
Okay, let's push through a few things just so we can talk about stuff. We don't really need to, but why not? So we've got some Mass Effect news. They might be dropping the Paragon and Renegade system for Mass Effect, which means they might have to do some decent writing.
Yeah, they might have to Witcher that shit.
Oh no!
So I'm not going to be able to go up to like a pregnant Sari and be like, have an option to like help deliver the child or
kick her in
give
the
her a
stomach.
late-term abortion. Yeah, just
You
one
might-
of the two.
You
Like,
might, in that situation, it might still be valid. Yeah. Just not that I'm going to pick red or blue the whole time.
I would very much like that whole system to just go away.
I hate morality systems.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, really, once they're in there, if you don't just prioritize towards one of them, you'll end up missing out on some major content.
yeah,
Because it's just like, oh well,
it's like a cheap way to make you replay the game.
Once you've got 100% towards evil, you get this cool
Yeah.
cape that makes you it's just like, oh. So you got to do it
Also
that way or the other way.
sucker who always ends up playing a good guy. Like,
Yeah,
even
but-
if I set
but-
out to be a bad guy.
In stats, most people do. But it's very hard to play an actual evil character.
I think it's just because in video games, like, for the ones where you don't have morality, you're, like, conditioned to just do what people ask of you, because that's how you progress through
That's
it.
part of it, yeah.
Although, Pillars of Eternity is the best reputation system I've found in a game.
I bounced off that a bit, actually, just because I wasn't ready to dedicate my time to something.
That makes sense.
I think that was one of the games that taught me that what I wanted as a kid is not what I want now.
Because we're old and lonely.
Yeah.
Like I started playing it, I'm like, this is if I was in university, I would love the shit out of this game. I'd love it so much.
Okay, who wants to talk about CSGO gambling fiasco?
Ooh, I do.
I'm going to cross that off the list.
So, basically, it's like buying the loot crates is equivalent of gambling.
No. So very very briefly, if you know
Oh, no, sorry, this was the pro scene with throwing matches?
No. There's
Because I'm
sites.
pretty sure both those things actually happened to CSGO.
I think those things do happen as well. But there's a scene of actual CS:GO gambling sites where you gamble with gun skins.
Okay.
So you buy skins, you go to the site, you gamble. You cash out by getting skins back, which you take back to Steam, which you can then cash out for cash. It's literal gambling.
Right, yeah.
It was also, up until the day they really got in trouble, it also just had 13 or over. Out of the same. Then they changed it to 18 and said it was always there. It's like, we had the fucking internet, we could check. But the big thing was then a bunch of the top CSGO streamers who would always go like, oh, so I found this gambling site. I don't know why they talk like this. I found this gambling site, and it's great. I can make all this money in it. And it turns out they owned the site. And there was no disclosure or anything like that. So, but even though it's kind of big news and it's kind of shitty, I also don't really think it has that much to do with the games industry.
No.
It just is like a gambling shitty people industry problem.
Yeah, it's just shady people. Like, it's like Pokemon cards, the shady stuff that went on.
It is this kind of like this weird kind of like, how do you regulate this area? Like, what do you do? Can you do anything to regulate
Is it Valve's fault for letting this marketplace exist?
No,
I like that I can sell cards and get a few dollars off on the Steam sale.
I don't know. Yeah, so
But I mean, people have been making money off video games for a long time, like through unintended.
I think
And some of them fucking sell the games. Bullshit.
the thing that's tricky here is that there's a good reason that regulation exists in gambling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, it's unregulated, and you can have the situation where these people with millions of subscribers can completely
Disclosure: James Bowling used to work for a gambling
I used
company.
to work for
They owe you money.
they do. They owe me a couple $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely unregulated, so they can be as kind of manipulative as they want.
Yeah.
And you kind of also have the mobile slot machine games, where even though there's no payout, they earn a ridiculous amount of money.
And it certainly conditions them.
Yes, yeah, and there's no age gate, and yeah.
It was the one of them when he posted an apology video and he started at like holding his dog. It's like, you manipulative fuck.
Yeah.
Everyone sees right through you.
How many times did they change this story?
Oh, I think they just
He's
ended up
holding
deleting
the dog
everything.
and it's like a greyhound with a racing number.
Beautiful. Okay. Very short note. For a game I haven't bought yet, but I may do now. Anais has it. Alien Nation. It was that sort of, I suppose a Dead Nation sort of sequel-y thing. It looked kind of cool, but for some reason had no local co-op, which is the only way I'm interested in that game.
Yeah.
Now it has local co-op, so off the list.
It's kind of strange that did not come first.
It is really...
Like, in terms of
like,
technical difficulty,
yeah.
one is a lot easier than the other.
Yeah, well, I guess they didn't know how to zoom the screen out or something.
Let's write all this
We're
complicated
supposed to
netcode.
divide the screen how many times? Twice? I mean, is one part really big and one part really small? How does it work?
So, Lord British, or Richard Garriott, as the plebs may know him,
Literal plebs.
put some of his blood up for sale on eBay. It was $5,000,
Yep.
and then it got taken down. And there was a lot of speculation about haters and everyone like trying to report and trying to get it taken down. It was probably eBay's strong stance against selling human blood.
It's written in the terms and conditions.
It literally is. It's just right there. It's like no organs or blood, or it's like yeah. So they took it down. I think 3 people are still getting some amount of blood.
Okay.
It's like a big plaque with more of a slide of blood. It looks like, and then like the blood of Lord British on a plaque.
How
below
is Richard Garriott still relevant?
It's
understand.
advertising for Shroud of the Avatar, which I thought was dead, but apparently
Still
isn't.
going?
Apparently it's going to
Yeah,
launch sometime soon.
Okay.
Ish. I don't
Which
know.
is that one? Refresh my memory about what that game is.
It's him just trying to make Ultima again.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all.
That
That's
makes
all
sense.
Lord British tries to make.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got this new pitch. It's Ultima, but with a different name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Stuff. Evolve is now free to play.
Which it probably should have been at launch.
Should have been, and I gave it a little go.
Yep.
It's pretty much the same. I'm pretty much not interested in playing it until I'll get some friends together.
How?
That might be us.
Yeah.
And we go and have a bit of a tumble in the
Yeah,
bumps.
there's fun to be had in that game.
There's some real shit with this move, though.
Well, didn't they completely shaft people who bought the game?
Oh, yeah.
And they reset progress?
Yes, those are the big
Reset
ones.
progress.
So that's the thing. If there was one person in particular, I was reading their account. So they removed game modes. So they were like, "Fuck! I bought a full price game that had these game modes. I was still playing it, and now they don't exist.
Ooh.
Whether or not they come back in the roadmap, I'm not aware. Also, because the game had a leveling system and you unlocked perks and like special
Weapons?
skins and stuff,
Okay, yep.
they wiped it all.
All
So
the
you
progress.
still retain the DLC you purchased, but anything you earned is gone. But they gave them, I believe, 3,000 keys if you were then. I will just mention that I haven't played Evolve since the beta, and when I opened it, I had 1,500 keys, and I had 2,800 keys after one match. So I don't think
Oh,
3,000
That's a kick in the balls.
was
right there.
much. It's not enough to buy anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. That's, look,
That's
quite frankly,
such a dick move.
and I think they were given some skins and stuff, but like this guy in this case had already bought all their skins, so it didn't
Yeah.
matter anyway. So there was nothing new for him. It's like those people. There's only a few of them. Just
Just give them it. Just go. You want? You can have it
Yeah.
all. You are
Yeah.
now a lifetime member
Yeah.
of Evolve.
it's like by default you just have all the hunters unlocked.
Yeah.
Just
There
there you
you
go, done. But no.
At the
So
very
for
least,
for
the
those of us that never bought it, probably good. The numbers
Yeah.
have it's like grown in 32,000%. It was like at
Yeah.
70 people a couple of weeks ago.
That really shows. Evolve really shows the Valve magic. Because there is no if Valve was doing that game, then it would have had just the success that say Left 4 Dead would have had. Like they would have managed it right. They would have had the right business model. They wouldn't have let it out till they knew it was going to be good. This would have hit it. And then if you take that team and you take Valve out of the picture, it's there's a lot that comes along with what Valve can do.
I still think there's some inherent problems with Evolve, primarily in that it's terrible on a public server. That if you need a team of people that knows how to play the game.
Yeah, I play some random games. And...
Yeah, Left 4 Dead is okay because if someone's terrible, just leave them to die and take their shit.
That's just Paul's rule on life in general.
That's how Paul ended up getting kicked out of the Scouts.
He's not talking about Evolve right now.
It's like, I was like, oh, I've got 99 health, but you've got a health pack and you're dying, so I'll just use mine for 1 health and I'll pick up yours. And off I go. Here we go. So I think we should probably play some Evolve together.
Yeah.
We can talk about its current state in the future. That's cool. I played some Quake.
Which one?
Oh, the new one?
Quake. Just straight up Quake.
Okay.
Because there is a new a new episode available, created by the team that made the new Wolfenstein games. And it is incredibly interesting to play, because they're very good levels. I had a lot of fun with them.
That's cool.
But they have this real bent towards... It's not like Quake never had like areas that lock you off and you fight a bunch of people at once. But it's interesting just looking at the structure of how much that happens now. But they've also really captured the Quake idea of like going through an area, clearing it out, and then you sort of go and you turn back through the same area, but it opens up another space.
Is this free to play?
It's free. It's just download it, play it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to own Quake, but it's pretty easy to play. I wasn't having much luck launching it with just bog standard Quake. I grabbed a launcher to help me do it.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's really, really simple.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it in the show notes. What the
that's
what the actual
interesting.
note. Yeah, it's fun watching someone take a modern take while still trying to remain to the retro idea of that game.
I remember years ago I had like a hacked PSP, and one of the things you could do is you could load up Quake. Someone made a version of Quake for PSP.
I've played it on the Wii, on DS. Played on a few phones.
The thing that really surprised me was that the Quake is a game where you can finish levels really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like level. And so when you put it on a handheld and you have like a 5-10 minute level, it actually works really well. And then with the PSP, because there wasn't a lot of vertical movement with aiming, it was more horizontal. Mouse look was still kind of a newish thing. I remember the levels were fairly... Anyway.
Yes. Yeah, it had pretty vertical levels in Quake.
Maybe it's just the ones I was playing.
In the later episodes,
the ones I was playing early, there was mainly horizontal movement, and that I found was really well suited to like a handheld with less accuracy. Yeah. This game somehow circled back around on like how relevant it was. Like this is like a casual game.
And I got to say, my style of playing Quake, post playing the new Doom, totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super more aggressive when I play it now.
Yeah.
It's great fun. Yeah, it's just, as you say, it's actually a great game to play in short bursts and do stuff with. Okay, so that is...
Can I cross one off? Only Paul may cross.
Well, you can cross off anything you like. You could cross off Richard Garriott's blood.
Oh,
you crossed me off. No, my one weakness. Being crossed off my own list. This is the fate worse than death. Okay.
Yeah.
So, this show's been going quite well. How are people enjoying our not bothering with technology show? I think it's actually good. But what do you think? You can't respond right now.
You can email.
Email us at bitsplease@8.5bit.com. And I don't know if I remember to put it off on the video, so I'll say it again at the end of the episode when we're done. If you want videos, you can just look them up while you're talking to us, listening to us.
You can just background us and just go look up your own damn video.
Yeah, it seems like there's less of me going, oh, my phone's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I could have just got a better, fixed my phone, so it wasn't all shattered. But the tape is doing wonders. It's doing great. Is there anything you guys would like to cover before we wrap up today?
What's on my list?
You've got House of the Dying Sun.
Yeah.
Is that something to talk about yet? Or no?
I really want to try it in VR.
Okay, well, we'll wait for VR.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be having some VR time soon.
What I've played, I've very much enjoyed. But I feel like to get the full experience, I need to VR that shit.
Okay, we'll belay that one.
Yeah.
I played through the first Danganronpa game. Trigger.
I almost picked that one up from the Steam sales.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also I played on Vita because
yeah.
that's my go-to platform for most things if I can.
Yep.
And a visual novel I think is perfect for Vita because it's just sit down. Danganronpa has absolutely awful fucking writing. It is wretched. It's also really fun.
I've never played it
Can you
I've played
describe-
two visual novels.
Can you describe to
but
me?
both of them had terrible writing.
Describe to me what it is.
So Danganronpa is a cross between, say, I had a few things. So a bit battle royale crossed with Phoenix Wright. If who was I thinking would have directed? Not a bit Cronenbergish. Not really. I don't know. So the setting is you've got to this school. It's like an elite academy. You pass out, you wake up, you're there, you're one of 15, 16, it's part of the plot, how many students there are. And you're told that you're all trapped in this school for the rest of your lives, but if one of you kills another one, and then gets away with it, they're allowed to leave and the rest of you get killed. But if you work out who killed the other student, they just get killed and you guys continue your life. So it's basically broke into a series of cases where a student is murdered, and then you have to work out who and why. And most of the game is walking around the school and chatting to people. And then at the end of each chapter, there is a big court case which has some of the stupidest mini games ever. It has like the Phoenix Wright thing where you have to like pick like a hole in someone's argument, see the contradiction. Except you have to shoot their argument with one of your truth bullets, which is like they just. And then it's like as it progresses, like. Other people's words will come across their arguments, so you have to clear them out of the way before you can shoot it. And it's just like they were so desperate to put a game in there.
We really need a game in this visual novel.
Yeah, it's like I was like, oh, now it's time to interrogate them, and it's a beat mini game. Like, why is this here? What is going
I never
on?
thought of that because I get the appeal of a visual novel.
Yeah.
Like, I've never really found one I loved. Or
Now I gotta say, like, all I'm saying is it has wretched writing. The story is very fun. It's fun. It's fun in like a young adult with a sort of a dark edge sort of way.
Yeah, great.
It's just that by probably about the halfway mark of the game, most of the dialogue I was like, okay, I've read the first line, so now I can just hold the skip button down until this conversation's over, because all they're going to do is repeat that same concept. Oh, that's right. I said as if written by Stephen King. That's what I said. I love Stephen King. I love Stephen King's plots.
Yeah.
He's got good
But
plots.
what Stephen King likes to do is say, and then they didn't know tomorrow he would be dead. Then tomorrow it's like, and this is how he died. And then the next day he says, and this is the way he died yesterday. It's like, yeah, we get it. We get it, Stephen King. Your books are designed that you can read a chapter and then pick it up 3 months later and you don't have to miss anything because you're so fucking repetitive.
What's the line? The man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed?
Yeah.
And that's the book.
Pretty much. To a degree.
But that's what happened that whole book.
He does like to foreshadow and then reshadow. It's an old comedy line that I really enjoy, which is comedy is like, tell people what you're going to do, then do it, but then tell them that it has been done. One of my favourite rules of comedy. So it goes along, and it's one of those things where there's certain plot elements where like the big mystery and everything. I'm like, you guys never actually worked this out, did you? And like, yeah, they obviously didn't.
Yeah.
But even though it was a little tedious at points, and it had some terrible dialogue, and all the characters were wretched stereotypes, I immediately bought the sequel.
Okay.
So it has a very certain joy to it, and just a perverse wackiness of like, it's one of those things, every time a case starts, like. Normally there's a few days that you're just hanging out at the school first, but it's like, oh, we found a new area, because after it, it's like, oh wow, this store's got a special code that only lets people with these cards pass. It's like, well, obviously this is where the murder's going to take place, so I'll have to live with those cards. So, yeah, very foreshadowing. But yeah, it's silly, it's fun. It's very good on a Vita.
Okay.
I think...
I'd be scared not knowing what I can and can't skip.
Oh, there's a log.
Okay.
Yeah, if you because there's certain times that you interrupt, and when you can't have the opportunity to interrupt, the skip stops, and the skip doesn't just clear it; it just does super fast forward.
Yeah.
So I can still read while the skip is going, but I'm just keyword reading.
Okay.
And they highlight keywords anyway.
Oh, so you just see blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually skipping is actually a totally
Blah, blah,
viable
blah,
thing.
blah. I did it, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. which in this game could be a total fake out.
Oh.
It is actually fun the way they play with a bunch of characters' motivations and
Oh, yeah.
as it opens it. Like, there are some stupid characters, but they're mostly pretty fun.
Alright, so how many recommendations do you give it out of 1?
Ooh.
1 being you recommend, 0 being you don't.
1 Danganronpa out of 1. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that.
Okay.
I shouldn't.
How long did it take you to get through?
Well, I was sick most of last week,
Okay.
so it took 3 days in bed.
So it's still
That's
quite
pretty
a...
lengthy.
Yeah, I reckon
Quite
it was.
dedication.
I reckon it was probably total throwing around 14 hours long.
Of skipping. That's a long game. That's a lot of
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of writing. Well, this is the thing. That's not even just the game. So I'm not quite sure of this at the moment. So I finished the game, and then a new mode opens up, and it looks like it's the game again, but the motivation of the students killing each other isn't there. Instead, you're tasked with like making these robots. So it suddenly becomes a
Alright.
That sounds like a completely different game, not a second
exactly.
mode.
It's same location, same
Yeah.
characters, except apparently they're not going to die this time. I mean, maybe I haven't got far enough into it,
If you-
but you have to
Is
like
it if,
have to
if
get
you build robots that can like get past the void conf test.
well because you're like you're told to make a robot that does this and get sort of a base recipe. Then you've got to go search the school for the components, and then it's a little there's a little crafting game there. But the thing is, talking to everyone and all the dialogue and all the huge conversations are still like there, and they're totally new. And with a visual novel, isn't that the hard bit? Isn't the writing?
That is most of the content.
Yeah, I'm like, just wait, did you make a second game on top of this game?
I want the second version to be like you're just showing up as a witness for all these trials, and each time just like, yeah, I was just trying to make my robot in the courtyard, and I heard some screaming.
It's just like, and they call it the what if scenario. It's like,
What if the story was completely different?
exactly. I'm like, well,
What if we made this game instead?
I think it cost me $14. There's a Japanese sale, big
Yeah.
in Japan. I think it's called on PSP at the on PlayStation Store at the moment, and I think $15. That's totally It's got heaps of content.
Well,
in
you'd
it.
be hitting that
Yeah,
an
you
hour
really
mark.
Hey, and you get score for the cases for some reason, so you can actually try to get a perfect score on your
Okay.
cases. Don't know if it changes anything, but go for it.
Interesting.
It's got a few of those moments where it gives you a choice. Yeah.
Is it a choice but not a choice?
Yeah, if you pick the wrong one, it says. Oh no! At one point, you can end the game halfway through. Basically, you can just say, "No, I don't think I'm going to reveal that evidence." Game ends, has a kind of happy ending, and then it sort of just rewinds and says, "Let's try that again."
Isn't that a fairly staple of visual novels that you can have an unexpected ending?
I don't know. Well, I mean, it's good that they can.
Because
I don't know if
I
it's a
remember
staple, but it's a
playing
regular.
Katawa Shoujo, the fan-made visual novel.
Oh yeah.
And at one point, if you fuck it up so that you don't start a relationship with any of the girls, you just get drunk and fall off a building.
The perfect. Oh god. Yeah. So, I think that brings us to the end of today's episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We don't need no stinking TV.
No.
Nah, I quite like it. There's less to worry about, more laughter, more beers. If
helps
someone
too.
would like to send us some beer, we'll
Drink it.
Yeah, if you own a brewery, we'll turn the labels towards you. So that's the back of the label. So who knows what that beer is, except James has it facing the
turn
other
it
way.
right, yeah.
He doesn't understand this non-advertising
There we
way.
go.
If you have a moonshine distillery, we'll put all 4 X's.
Or chips. Snacks.
Snacks.
We shouldn't be snacking on camera.
No.
That'll be distracting.
Bad audio.
Imagine if I had some crunchy cereal.
Ooh.
Crunchy cereal. Okay, I think if...
I had a Bloody Mary flavored chip today,
Ooh.
Isn't that just tomato?
but with spicy stuff
Okay.
to imitate the Tabasco.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it.
And could it get you drunk?
No, but it could get you sober.
Boo.
That's the opposite of what
You know,
you
it
want
could
to
fight a. You could fight a hangover like a Bloody Mary does the morning after.
We got like Bloody Mary sachets after a wedding.
Sachets.
Yeah, you're just supposed to mix them up with water. Apparently, it'd be a Bloody Mary in the morning.
Just tomato soup.
Yeah, it
That's all
sounds.
It was
just-
a satchel of tomato
It
soup.
was powdered Campbell's soup.
Yeah, it sounds
But
like tomato flavored Barocca.
The only tomato soup worth drinking is Big Red Tomato Soup. Get it at your local convenience store. It's delicious. So, do you think they'll pay me now?
I think so. Just send them that with an invoice.
It's true. I love it. It's the only tomato soup I'll drink. It's great.
Okay.
I love it. That with like grilled cheese.
That sounds alright. I don't really have a soup loyalty.
That was the last meal I had before I got married.
Tomato soup.
Yeah, I had myself a big red soup,
Nice.
some grilled cheese.
Was that because it was easy on the tummy?
Nah, I just thought it'd be a funny thing to have for my life.
Were you on your own?
Yeah.
You just eating soup. In my mind, out of a can.
Oh yeah.
With like the lid sort of just like pried open a bit like that.
The night before my wedding was just like me hanging around the house, like probably playing some video games. Just like getting married tomorrow.
Gonna eat some tomato soup.
Nah, this is good. Oh, spilled a little bit on my chest.
Yeah, I'll probably shower in the morning.
It'll be fine. And it was mostly fine.
Yeah. You got married.
It worked.
Which you did. You did well, son.
There's a strong correlation between tomato soup and successful poor marriages.
It's true. Okay. Thank you for watching 8.5-Bit or listening to us. You can catch us on our website, 8.5bit.com, Twitter and Facebook. We're on iTunes. So please subscribe to us on there. Leave us a review if you can. That helps us a lot. Hopefully we're getting back into the swing of things and we're fun and exciting and no longer slaves to technology and terrible microphones.
We have the paper now.
Yeah, I think paper is the way to go.
I don't think like a video game podcast should be advocating against technology. Though.
No,
that
fuck
seems
it.
like against our interests.
No. This is the way we relax and we decompress from our video games.
Oh, yeah, true.
Now we're going to go next door and we're going to take a Nintendo 64 controller and we're all going to sit on it.
He's not joking.
Well, it's the only one that will work.
Yeah, I know, because this is the 3 prongs.
Don't be explicit about it.
All I'm saying is Paul gets the large one in the middle.
I have been your host, Paul.
I've been James.
I've been Jeremy.
We'll catch you all next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.